This is what Faster said. All rules that have passed a century, thus 100 years, with the Croda, pointer, and its Jul, may, upon the advice of the OERA LINDA and with general consent, be engraved on the walls of the castles. When they are written on the walls, they become laws, OERA, and it is our duty to honor them all. If necessity and coercion impose rules on us that contradict our laws and customs, then we must comply, but if they have faded, we must always return to the old ways. That is Freya's will, and it must apply to all her children. Faster further said, whatever one may wish to undertake, however it may be, will always be completely successful on the day we have sanctified to Freya. Now that time has proven her right, it has become a law that on the day of Freya, without necessity and coercion, nothing else should be done but celebrate joyful festivals. These are the rules that belong to the castles. 1. When a castle is built somewhere, the light must be ignited there at the first lamp on Texland, but this may only be done by the mother. 2. Each mother will choose her own young women, as well as those serving as mothers elsewhere. 3. The mother on Texland may choose her successor, but if she dies before doing so, this choice must be made during a general assembly with advice from all the states together. 4. The mother on Texland may have 21 young women and 7 spinning girls, so that there are always 7 who guard the lamp both day and night. The same applies to the young women serving as mother in other castles. 5. If a young woman wishes to marry, she must inform the mother and immediately return to the people before she pollutes the light with her fertile breath. 6. To the mother and to every castle young woman, 21 castle lords must be added, 7 old sages, 7 old warriors, and 7 old sea warriors. 7. Every year, 3 from each group of 7 must return home, but they may not be succeeded by their direct family members up to the 4th generation. 8. Everyone may have 300 young castle defenders. 9. For these services, they must learn the teachings of Freya, as well as the laws, the wisdom of the wise men, the art of war from the old warriors, and the knowledge necessary for sea voyages from the sea kings. 10. Of these defenders, 100 must return home each year. If some have become paralyzed, they may remain on the castles for their entire lives. 11. In choosing the defenders, residents of the castle, gravitmannen, or other leaders may not vote, only the common people. 12. The mother on Texland will have 3 times 7 swift messengers, with 3 times 12 swift horses. In other castles, each castle young woman will have 3 messengers with 7 horses. 13. Every castle must have 50 farmers, chosen by the people, but only those who are not fit for military service or sea voyages. 14. Every castle must provide for its own upkeep, utilizing its own portion and the share it receives from market dues. 15. If someone is chosen to serve in the castles and refuses, they may never become a castle lord later and thus never have a vote. If they are already a castle lord, they will lose that honor. 16. If someone seeks advice from the mother or a castle young woman, they must report to the scribe. The scribe will take them to the mayor, then to the leets, the healer, to check for evil spirits. If approved, they will lay down their weapons, and 7 warriors will escort them to the mother. 17. If the matter concerns one state, no fewer than 3 messengers may come. If it concerns the whole of Friesland, there must be 3 times 7 witnesses to prevent mistrust and deceit. 18. In all matters, the mother must ensure that her children, the Freya people, remain as wealthy as possible. That is her primary duty, and it is our duty to assist her in doing so. 19. If she is called in a legal case between a gravitman and the community, and the case is unclear, she must speak in favor of the community to maintain peace, because injustice to one person is better than to many. 20. If someone seeks advice and the mother knows, she must provide it immediately. If she doesn't know right away, she may wait for 7 days. If she still doesn't know, they may leave without complaint because no advice is better than wrong advice. 21. If a mother gives malicious advice, she must be killed or stripped naked and driven out of the land. 22. If her castle lord is involved, the same applies to them. 23. If her guilt is doubtful, there should be deliberation and discussion, possibly for 21 weeks. If half agree on guilt, she is considered innocent. If 2/3 agree on guilt, they wait for another year. If she is still found guilty, she may be declared guilty but not killed. 24. If among the third portion of people, there are those who consider her so innocent that they want to follow her, they may do so with all their movable and portable possessions, and no one may scorn them for it, as the majority can err as well as the minority. General laws. 1. All free people are born in the same manner. Therefore, they must also have equal rights, both on land and on water, and to everything that ruler gives. 2. Every man may court the woman of his choice, and every woman may offer her drink to the one she loves. 3. If someone takes a wife, he must receive a house and property. If none exists, it must be built. 4. If he goes to another village to find a wife and wishes to stay there, he must receive a house and property, as well as the use of the hemrick. 5. Every man must receive a back portion as property by his house. No one may have a front portion by his house, let alone a round portion, unless someone has performed a deed beneficial to everyone. Even his youngest son may inherit it. After that, the village must take it back. 6. Every village must have a hemrick as needed, and the count must ensure that each maintains and fertilizes their part properly so that the descendants suffer no harm. 7. Every village may have a market for buying, selling, or trading. The rest of the land shall remain for agriculture and forest land. But no one may fell trees without communal discussion and without the knowledge of the forest count. The forests are for general benefit, and no one may solely own them. 8. The village may not collect more than 1/11 of the purchase price as market dues, neither from residents nor from those who come from afar. Market dues may not be sold earlier than other goods. 9. All market dues must be divided annually, 3 days before Jewel Day, into 100 parts. 10. The grevitman with his counts receives 20 parts, the market judge 10 parts and his assistants 5 parts, the mother of the people 1 part, the midwife 4 parts, the village 10 parts, the poor, those who cannot or may not work, 50 parts. 11. Those who come to the market may not engage in usury. If this occurs, it is the duty of the women to make this known everywhere, so that they are never chosen for any position, for such people have a greedy heart. They would betray everything to amass wealth, the people, the mother, their family, and ultimately themselves. 12. If someone is so wicked that he sells sickly animals or spoiled goods as good, the market judge must banish him, and the women must appoint him everywhere in the country. In earlier times, the people of Findham mainly lived in their homeland, particularly Aldland, which now lies underwater. They were far away. That's why we had no war. When they were driven out and came here to plunder, land defense, leaders, kings, and war naturally arose. For all those things, rules were created, and from those rules, laws emerged. Here are the laws compiled from that. 1. Every Frisian must defend themselves against insulters or enemies, using all weapons they can conceive, obtain, and use. 2. When a boy is 12 years old, he must miss 1 day per week from his learning period to become proficient with weapons. 3. Once proficient, he is given weapons and dubbed a warrior. 4. After 3 years as a warrior, he becomes a castle lord and may assist in the election of his chief. 5. After 7 years as a voter, he may assist in choosing a nobleman or king and be chosen himself. 6. Each year, he must be re-elected. 7. Except for the king, all officials who act justly and according to Friars' Council may be re-elected. 8. No king may remain king for longer than 3 years to prevent him from becoming too entrenched in his position. 9. After 7 years of rest, he may be chosen again. 10. If the king is defeated by the enemy, his family members may also strive for that honor. 11. If he resigns in time or dies within his term, no family member closer than the 4th generation may succeed him. 12. Those who fight without weapons in their hands cannot conceive or remain wise. Therefore, it is not fitting for a king to wield weapons in battle. His wisdom must be his weapon, and the love of his warriors must be his shield. Here are the rights of the mother and the kings. 1. If war breaks out, the mother sends her messengers to the king, and the king sends messengers to the gravetmen for the land defense. 2. The gravetmen call all castle lords together and discuss how many men they will send. 3. All decisions of these individuals must immediately be sent to the mother, with messengers and witnesses. 4. The mother gathers all decisions and gives the golden number, the average number of all decisions together. Peace must initially be made with this, also for the king. 5. When the army is in the field, the king only needs to consult with his chieftains, but 3 castle lords of the mother without a vote must always be present. These castle lords must send messengers to the mother daily to keep her informed if anything goes against Friars' Council. 6. If the king wants to do something and his advisors do not, he may not undertake it. 7. If the enemy appears unexpectedly, one must do as the king commands. 8. If the king is absent, one must obey his successor or whoever follows, until the last. 9. If there is no chief, one must choose one. 10. If there is no time, someone must appoint themselves as chief if they feel capable. 11. If the king has defeated a hostile people, his descendants may carry his name after their own name. The king may, if he wishes, choose an uninhabited place for a house and property. That property can be a round portion, so large that he can walk 700 steps in all directions from his house before reaching its border. 12. His youngest son may inherit that possession, then his youngest son, after which it must be taken back. Here are the rights of all Frisians to be safe. 1. When laws are made or new rules compiled, these must be for the general good, but never for the benefit of individuals, families, states, or anything that is individual. 2. When war breaks out and houses or ships are destroyed, either by the enemy or by common consent, the community must compensate for this. This is because no one may harm the common interest to preserve their own good. 3. If the war is over and some people are so maimed that they can no longer work, the community must care for them. During festivals, they must sit at the front so that the youth will honor them. 4. If there are widows and orphans, one must care for them. The sons may inscribe the names of their fathers on their shields to honor their lineage. 5. If some have been captured by the enemy in return, they must be led far away from the camp, as they might have been released under false promises and cannot keep those promises yet wish to remain honest. 6. If we capture enemies, we must bring them deep into the land and teach them our free customs. 7. If we later release them, it must be done kindly by the virgins, so we may make friends instead of enemies. From Minnow's writings. If there is a man so wicked that he robs our neighbors, commits murder, sets houses on fire, abuses maidens, or does any other evil, and our countrymen seek revenge, then it is justified to seize the perpetrator and execute them in their presence so that no war arises where the innocent suffer for the guilty. If they wish to spare his life and buy off the revenge, that may be allowed. If the guilty one is a king, a gravetman, or someone else who must oversee morals, we must rectify the wrong, but he must be punished. If he bears an honorary title from his forefathers on his shield, his family members may no longer carry that title, as one blood relative must care for the morals of another. Laws for the helmsman, title for foreign navigators. 1. All Frisian sons have equal rights, so all eligible boys may enlist as foreign navigators with the alderman, and he may not refuse them unless there is no space available. 2. The helmsmen may choose their own masters. 3. Merchants must be chosen and appointed by the community, to whom the goods belong, and the helmsman may not have a say in this. 4. If, during the journey, they discover that the king is bad or incompetent, they may choose another. Upon their return, they may be accused by the king before the alderman. 5. Upon the fleet's return, and if there is profit, the sailors must receive a third part, divided as follows: the White King 12 parts, the Night Scouts 7 parts, the boatswains 2 parts each, the skippers 3 parts each, the remaining crew 1 part each, the youngest ship boys 1/3 part each, the middle boys each half part, and the eldest boys each 2/3 part. 6. If some are disabled, the community must provide for their upkeep, and they must sit at the forefront of all kinds of festivities. 7. If there are casualties during the voyage, their next of kin must inherit their share. 8. If there are widows and orphans, the community must care for them. If they have fallen in a sea battle, their sons may carry their fathers' names on their shields. 9. If light sailors perish, their heirs shall receive a full share. 10. If a sailor was engaged, his bride may claim 7 parts to dedicate a memorial to her groom, but she must remain a widow for the rest of her life. 11. When a community equips a fleet, the shipowners must ensure sufficient provisions and facilities for women and children. 12. If a sailor is old and poor and has no house or land, that must be given to him. If he does not want a house and land, his friends may take him in, and the community must compensate, unless his friends decline this benefit. Useful information from the remaining writings of Minno. Minno was an ancient sea king, a seer, and philosopher. He provided laws to the Cretans. He was born in Linda and after all his wanderings, was fortunate to die in Lindahem. If our neighbors possess land or water that seems interesting to us, we should ask to buy it. If they refuse, we must let them keep it, as this is in accordance with Friar's law, and it would be unjust to take it away. When neighbors quarrel about something other than land and ask us to arbitrate, it is better not to take sides. If it is unavoidable, however, it must be done fairly and justly. If someone says, "I have war and need your help," or another says, "My son is underage, and I am old, I want you to be his guardian and administer my land until he is of age," we must refuse this to avoid getting involved in matters that conflict with our free norms. If a foreign merchant deceives at the permitted market in Wormgen or Almanland, he must be promptly punished with a market fine, and the maidens must make this known to everyone. If he returns, no one shall buy anything from him, and he may depart as he came. Hence, only merchants who are well known and have a good reputation among the maidens should be chosen to go to the market or sail with the fleet. If, by chance, there is a bad man among them who wishes to deceive people, the others must prevent it. If it has already occurred, it must be rectified, and the offender must be banished so that our name is honored everywhere. However, if we are at a foreign market, near or far, and people harm us or steal from us, we must act swiftly. Although we must do everything for peace, our kin must never despise us or think we are afraid. In my youth, I complained about the limitations of the laws, but later, I thanked Freya for her guidelines and our ancestors for the laws that have arisen from them. Ralda or the Allgood has given me many years, and I have traversed many lands and seas. After all that I have seen, I am convinced that only we, chosen by the Allgood, have laws. Lida's people cannot create or uphold laws, they are too ignorant and rough for that. Many of Finda's people may be clever enough, but they are greedy, arrogant, false, unchaste, and violent. The toads swell up and can only crawl. The frogs cry, "Work, work," but they do nothing but jump and make jokes. The ravens say, "Save, save," but they steal and devour everything that comes under their beaks. The people of Finda resemble all these animals. They speak loudly about good laws. Everyone wants to establish rules to stop evil, but no one wants to abide by them. He whose mind is the most cunning and thereby strong, his cock crows as king, and others must obey his will until someone else topples him. The word Yua is too sacred to denote a general concept, therefore, they have taught us to say Evin. Yua signifies guidelines engraved in the hearts of all people, so they know what is just and what is not, and thus can judge their own actions and those of others, as long as they have been raised to be good and not criminal. There is yet another meaning. Yua, even, also means equal, flat. Like water, both just and unjust, as water undisturbed by strong wind or anything else. If the water is disturbed, it becomes uneven, unjust, but it always tends to become flat again. This lies in its nature, just as the tendency to justice and freedom lies in the children of Freya. This tendency we have received from the spirit of Rulda, our father, who speaks loudly in the children of Freya. Therefore, this will always endure. Yua, eternal, is also another symbol of Rulda, who remains eternally just and undisturbed, although in his form, he may be heavy. Eternal and undisturbed are the attributes of wisdom and justice sought by all pious people and must be possessed by all judges. Thus, if people want to make rules and regulations that always remain good and apply to everyone, they must be the same for all people. Judges must render their judgment according to these laws. If something wrong has been done for which there are no rules, a general assembly must be convened to judge according to the spirit that Rulda allows us to speak, in order to judge fairly about everything. By doing this, our judgment will never fail. If there is no justice but injustice, disputes and divisions arise between people and states, leading to civil war, which plunges everything into chaos and ruin. But oh, foolishness! While we are busy harming each other, the envious people of Finda with their deceitful priests come to steal our possessions, violate our daughters, corrupt our norms, and finally, they lay slave chains around everyone's free neck.
Oh,